Nature speaks to us in a rhythm. Man at one time must have understood this rhythm, but we've lost it through the arrhythmic beat of civilization.
Ancient man looked to the sky for images of himself, and found in the heavens a hunter.
Orion, the hunter.
The Hollow Men by T.S. Eliot. Mr. Kurtz, he dead. A penny for the old guy. We are the hollow men. We are the stuffed men, leaning together, headpiece filled with straw. Alas, our dried voices, when we whisper together, are quiet and meaningless as wind in dry grass, or rats' feet over broken glass in our dry cellar. Shape without form, shade without color, paralyzed force, gesture without motion. Those who have crossed with direct eyes to death's other kingdom. Remember us, if at all, not as lost, violent souls, but only as the hollow men, the stuffed men. Eyes I dare not meet in dreams in death's dream kingdom, these do not appear.
Man is a hunter. It is his nature to search, to reach out, and to discover.
Eyes I dare not meet in dreams, in death's dream kingdom, these do not appear.
There, the eyes are sunlight on a broken column.
There the eyes are sunlight on a broken column.
There is a tree swinging.
There is a tree swinging.
And voices are in the wind
singing,
more distant and more solemn than a fading star. Let me be no nearer to death's dream kingdom. Let me also wear such deliberate disguises, rat's coat, crow skin, crossed staves in a field, behaving as the wind behaves, no nearer. Not that final meeting in the twilight kingdom.
This is the dead land.
This is the cactus land. Here the stone images are raised. Here they receive the supplication of a dead man's hand.
Under the twinkle of a fading star.
Is it like this in death's other kingdom, walking alone at the hour when we are trembling with tenderness, lips that would kiss, form prayers to broken stone?
Man observed, and information was born. The key to power was the rightful possession of the powerful. But all men sought power. And all men sought the forbidden fruit, knowledge.
The eyes are not here. There are no eyes here in this valley of dying stars, in this hollow valley, this broken jaw of our lost kingdoms. In this last of meeting places, we grope together and avoid speech, gathered on this beach of the tumid river, sightless, unless the eyes reappear as the perpetual star, multifoliate rose of death's twilight kingdom, the hope only of empty men. Here we go round the prickly pear.
The prickly pear, the prickly pear, at 5 o'clock in the morning. Here we go round the prickly pear, the prickly pear, the prickly pear. Here we go round the prickly pear.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, between the idea and the reality, between the motion and the act, falls the shadow, for thine is the kingdom. Between the conception and the creation, between the emotion and the response, falls the shadow. Life is very long. Between the desire and the spasm, between the potency and the existence, between the essence and the descent, falls the shadow, for thine is the kingdom. For thine is, life is, for thine is the, this is the way the world ends, this is the way the world ends, this is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper. Just looking at a few of the images, it's obvious that the poem seems to manifest the antithesis of vitality. The whole poem seems to be death. The whole poem is a complete void. Life is a complete void. It's filled with things like broken glass. Men are stuffed and hollowed. Force is paralyzed. We wear deliberate disguises like rats' coats, crow skin and cross staves, and stars seem to fade, not twinkle and shine.
I thought of the world that was going on just of animals long time ago, and when dinosaurs just lived and then one died off and the other would grow and then another one just dying, and then after that I thought of people that are poor and had no money, like the people in Africa and Hong Kong.
I think of the hollow men, people that are hollow inside, people that have stuffed things inside their bodies. And I think of cactus men, men that are all surrounded with cactus, the land where cactuses are around them. You can walk nowhere but into cactuses.
I think about an island where people make wishes and they never come true, and when they don't never come true, they add a spell on themselves. When they die, they turn into trees and they move. Well, I think the world it will never end, and people die and more people are born, and then the world keeps on going on. People get buried, and the wind blows over the flowers on the cemetery, and when it rains, the flowers grow bigger, and then, like, the world will never end.
I think that the hollow men is an indictment of we ourselves, of the society which we have become. We can no longer even feel any passions. We just sort of live in a kind of shapeless world.
Well, that can't be, because that'd be probably a straight line. So how could you exist if you're a straight line?
And when he talks about the dream kingdom, this is where we live, and we have lost the desire to live. We're lost souls. We have no soul.
I like being a human being because we can see and we can talk and we can hear and we can live and love. They don't love and they don't talk. They just grow.
We can no longer feel any emotion, any of the feelings that we should feel through our eyes.
Like I saw, when I shut my eyes, I saw pictures of it in my mind and all other things.
Something that Johanne said, I think, fits in with what I got out of this poem as well. And this is, she said we, and she keeps saying we, and this is exactly what Eliot, I think, wanted to have us say when we read this poem. And it's, we are the people, we are the hollow men.
We've got a heart, and the people that are hollow don't have hearts. We aren't hollow.
Well, I don't think it's just possible to be hollow and stuffed at the same time.
Here we go around the prickly pear. This is the conclusion we come to at the end of the poem.
It's a completely useless, futile action, just going around and around in a circle. It's sort of an incantation to a God, but a God that we no longer know. And this is what he's trying to express, the futility of our life, because we can't commit ourselves. It's as if it's a machine that no longer works, and it's gone haywire. It's as if they're children.
Well, we see grown-ups walking for exercising, going shopping, going to work and things, and it sounds like going around the prickly pear.
We are just like the children going around the prickly pear.
I think that if I were smart and a person told me to go around the prickly pear, I would say no.
We are repeating something that means nothing to us just from habit. We can no longer even express what our life means to us. It sort of means nothing. It's just sort of an eternal circle, a cycle that goes on.
Who am I?
Who am I? It's a sort of a question you can't really answer. It's frustrating. And so man searches for substitutes, or a way to answer the question, who am I?
Can people really be bothered to answer that question today? Do people need to now?
A child asks questions. A child searches. He wants to know. He wants to know, will you burn your fingers if you touch the sun? Can you climb on the clouds? He asks and asks and asks.
But man has a consciousness of self which a child doesn't have. Man becomes aware.
Man grows older. He becomes aware of the human mind and the human brain. Man realizes that he is superior.
Man decides that he is superior.
Man's world is filled with mysteries. For centuries, men have sought to explore and understand them, to explain them. And with new explanations came new mysteries. But wisdom is elusive.
We've had a great deal of difficulty in analyzing this poem, and
Well, we've looked at it, but we've never really used our eyes. I mean, we can see, and yet we can't see. We never use our eyes to feel.
Reality to most people is what they can see, and not what they can see through television, what they can see person to person, face to face. Reality stops with what I can really see and hear.
We never use our eyes to show emotion. We always use this shadow.
Our first reaction was to analyze it because we couldn't feel it, and we should have been able to feel it.
Maybe we thought we might be wrong.
But we've been taught not to use our emotions.
At school, we let our logic and our reason govern our emotions.
But at school, we look at things that way because the subjective can't be marked. Only the objective can.
Learning seems to imply a quest.
Being educated sounds like a process.
Learning is creative.
When I think of what I do that is creative, I don't think of school. We no longer know or can know what we want to do.
We've become too discriminate in what we want to learn.
We've all become so sophisticated and so analytical in our ability to discuss things.
We have all become so sophisticated and so analytical in our ability to discuss things.
We've all become so sophisticated and so analytical in our ability to discuss things.
When Mr. Eliot speaks of the shadow that falls in between the conception and the creation, he's speaking of the fact that we no longer can manifest any of our passions.
School really does seem separate from the rest of the world. I guess the confusion comes when you try and think, where does this fit in? You're coming to school. How does what you do now relate?
Well, to me, the shadow represents the shadow of death, and it seems that it's lingering all over. It's between conception and creation, between emotion and response. It suggests that we're afraid. We're afraid to say what we want and do what we want. And maybe even if it was there, if the ability to say and do what we want was there once, it seems that we've lost it.
You said we don't have enough to be able to use our passions or this sort of thing. I think it's the whole idea of our life is that we don't have enough courage or determination or just enough in us.
Man is perhaps unable or unwilling to commit himself to anything. He has the idea of something that he wants to do, but it never comes into reality.
John, you said that maybe it's the fear of death that places the shadow between the idea and the reality, the motion and the act. But I don't think it's the fear of death that causes this inability to express any feeling or anything. I think it's the fear of life. Maybe we don't know what we're afraid of.
School is something that we're all trying to get over with so we can do something else. And university, we get there, and it's something we're trying to get over with so we can do something else. And we go to work, something to get over with so we can do something else. And we have supper and do the dishes so we can do something else. And then we go to bed so that we can sleep and wake up in the morning and go to school and get it over with so we can do something else. And we look to the future as the time we can do something significant. And I think that if we don't do something significant like right now, it's not going to be when we're older. Because if you're not doing something happy, something that fills you with joy and inspiration right at this very moment, then 10 years from now, you're going to be in the very same place. So that every second of your life should be happy or sad, but you should be living, experiencing things in the middle that make up the end.
Nothing means anything to us anymore. For thine is the kingdom. These are just trite little phrases. Life is very long. They're very trite and they're spoken with no meaning. And we see that this is spoken with no meaning down at the end when T.S. Eliot says, "For thine is the," and we can't even continue the line. We have to stop. life is the, we end because we no longer know the meaning of it. We no longer even can speak the words.
And all men sought the fruit of knowledge. And they cultivated it, protected it. Man cultivated his new possession. The fruit was discovered and planted and grown, and it was dispersed to all that all might share in it, and it was protected that it might be everlasting. And it was made secure within a framework born of crafted human hands. But its taste has long been forgotten. For thine is the kingdom. For thine is the kingdom. For thine is the kingdom. I give you the end of a golden string. Only wind it into a ball. It will lead you in at heaven's gate, built in Jerusalem's wall. You have nothing to lose but your chains.